Hello and welcome once again to the FwdCompatible podcast. This is episode 83, part 2! For September 8th.
You did this.
That's 4. And
That's Nixon.
No, see, Tony's doing it.
For September 8th, 2013, my name's Tony. I'm joined, as always, by my fellow podcasters.
You never had to read off this many names. You remember who I
Jason,
am?
Mark, Macias, Brian. God, I'm out of breath already. I'm done.
we
That's
haven't
it.
had to read off that many names.
I know.
The 1 year.
I
we
know.
had
For the
like
1 year
7
anniversary,
people.
there's like 8 of us.
We're at Brian's house.
No.
It was insanity that day. In the event you have yet to do so, please do pause the video, click out, or check it out after you watch this, part 1, where we do discuss this week's news as well as answer your burning questions.
I believe I had a special guest appearance in that episode, too.
Yeah, Mark popped in for the last 5 minutes of episode 1.
It was glorious.
But this, of course, is part 2, where we are going to start talking over me so he can't mix it down.
Mix.
It's
It's just going to sound even more shitty because I'm going to do it still.
Yeah, I did hear that.
What
was
did you
Moss's?
think? What did you think of
It's
it?
awful sounding.
No, don't do it.
I'm doing it.
It's him and like one fan's like, haha. And he's like, everybody loves it.
I told you. What was that, Chipmunk?
I give no fucks. Chipmunk my mouth. I don't care.
People know what I sound like.
Blur your face.
The context. The context is what is important, not in which.
Make it sound like one of those police interrogations.
They have a megaphone option, so I can make
That
everything.
should
You're just gonna go through and
individually synthesize all or whatever all of my lines.
cops were onto
I
us.
will do it.
Today we're going to be discussing something that popped up this current past week, involving, how do you say his full name, Brian?
Hideo Kojima.
Hideo Kojima.
God bless you.
I just call him Kojima. It's basically the guy who invented
I call him Cage.
Metal Gear Solid.
Not Coach.
Nah.
He's been
Too hard, K.
He's been receiving quite a bit of backlash this week because one of his characters in his upcoming game for Metal Gear Solid 5, he wanted, I think her name's Quiet, isn't
Yes.
it?
Sniper named. It's a
She's
sniper
a mute.
named Quiet.
Yeah.
Sounds stupid.
She's the sniper class in Metal Gear Solid, and he wanted her to be dressed a little bit more sexily.
Sexily.
I don't think that's a word.
I make up words. I don't give a fuck, dude. And shit. Way to go,
Sexually,
Jason.
Sexually.
And basically, after that happened,
Scantily?
Scantily. Yeah, sure.
Scantily, yeah.
After that happened, they released a image of what she's supposedly looking like nowadays, and it's green, and she's wearing essentially a bikini top and some torn leggings.
Torn leggings and underwear.
Yeah.
Well, what else would a sniper wear? A ghillie suit? That's silly talk.
You know, before we get too far into it, I just realized if you look on camera, everybody's compacted pretty well over there. Nobody's by me. I feel so alone.
You know, there's a reason for that.
I know.
Did he shower?
So yeah, let's what were we saying?
We should tilt the camera so he's just poking off.
Cut me out.
It's just a voice comes from off camera all the time.
Let's kick it off with some initial thoughts. Don't go too deep because we are going to get to all the little intricacies.
I never try to think deep.
Too deep.
With a female chat.
Just a tip.
I don't get it.
Oh, I got it!
I don't get it. Can you explain?
When a man loves a woman, and
woman
police
loves
get
a man.
involved,
And there's some birds and some bees. You can order a flamingo or
The
a
stork
stork or
comes
something.
and drops off a new
It's
mattress
really
for you guys to get your
complicated.
business done
It's like,
on.
Yeah.
man loves a woman. Police get involved. Step 3.
Birds and the bees.
Step 4. Profit.
Profit.
What did they say for step 3?
It's
question mark.
Yeah.
It's step 2,
It's step
technically.
Back in
It's
step
step
2,
2,
yeah.
and then
It's
profit.
steel underpants.
Step 2.
Question mark.
Yeah. Step
Profit.
3.
But what's step 2?
I thought there's 4 steps. Wow.
No, it's 3. It's
No, it's
3.
3
You're
steps.
right.
It is 3 steps.
I'm a South Park
that's a
aficionado.
deep
I am
cut,
as
man.
well.
That's old school.
It's coming back in a few weeks, too.
It is.
I'm glad.
Amazingness.
But back to the topic at hand.
Scantily.
Scantily. Yeah.
Maybe this is
So-
a Japanese culture thing.
No.
I was going to get to that, but
Well,
let's start it off there. Go ahead.
Okay.
What are you thinking?
I think it might be a Japanese culture thing.
Enough said.
Yes.
Yeah, it was
This
indeed.
has
That
been
was perfect.
episode 83.
I actually agree quite a bit. I mean, if you look at the whole, a lot of the Japanese-oriented games tend to have scantily dressed women. The Western developers are guilty of it as well, but they're a little bit more
Subtle.
ahead.
I would not. Well, no. I think subtlety is what's lacking usually in this case.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's.
I'm trying to think of some other Japanese based games with female leads.
Final Fantasy.
Just look at
I thought Bayonetta was the first
like
one. that came to mind.
Bayonetta.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
What's it called? Dragons.
Well, Dragon's Crown. Yeah, which I almost didn't buy the game because the
Metroid.
art was just. She's not well.
She's very scantily.
Yeah.
You know what she
yeah,
wears
under
that's
that
the
mech suit?
problem. That's the
It leaves
problem with
very
it.
little to the imagination.
The mech suit is
It is sculpted to her
They take
body.
it off, but it becomes a
Oh,
problem
man.
because apparently you don't wear anything underneath the suit.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
then you sweat and you have to change your clothes anyway.
Well, which is funny because if you play Metroid Zero Mission, she does wear something under this suit. It's in every other game before that where she's wearing nothing under this suit.
Yeah, because in Zero Mission she wears
She's
like the
wearing
blue
Zero
bodysuit.
Yes, the blue bodysuit. But in previous games,
Which leaves nothing to the imagination.
well, yeah,
like her ass
but
crack
she
is eating
but
that
she's at least-
spandex.
but she's at least covered, and you can't really see that in the 8 pixels that she is. But
Damn 8 pixels.
I mean-
Giggles from
I mean,
the background.
yeah, no, and if you want to start there, yeah, Samus is one of my favorite characters, and I really wish that they wouldn't sexualize her at the end of the game. Because I think the interesting thing about Samus is that she is just a badass. In the first Metroid game in the US, they didn't even tell you it was a woman. Like, in the manual, Samus was referred to as a he. And it wasn't unless you beat the game in under 2 hours that you even knew it was a woman.
It's Umberto.
Well, that was a typo
Well,
thing.
I mean, this has always been going on. I mean, there's certain games that handle it a little bit differently. Like, I think
Tomb Raider.
I think Gears of War is one of the better examples of how to utilize women as a strong lead in the game.
There are 4 games, yeah.
They're clearly still very like feminine in the way that their body armor and stuff is constructed. But aside from a little bit of cleavage, they're pretty much dressed like the men, and it's obviously they're a lot smaller. They have like much more compact bodies.
When you think about it, Anya was even like, I mean, she was dressed in a traditional military suit. Yeah, it was tight, but like she had a full body. Like you didn't even see like kneecap. She had stockings on. So I mean, they had her in Gears 1 and 2 dressed head to toe. Like you couldn't, there was nothing really.
Tomb Raider, I know you just brought them up. If anything, they've evolved.
Yeah, I mean, it started off as almost a joke.
Yeah,
I mean, it was.
exactly.
She was like wearing next to nothing in the first couple Tomb Raiders.
And then when she died,
the pixel variety back then was atrocious. Back on the PS1, so I mean,
she had like 4 colors, all right?
Yeah.
And then if you look like as she's kind of come of age, I know it was a prequel and it was a really good game, one of the best games of the year so far.
Yeah.
She still has her
Well, see, but and this
cleavage
is,
popping out moments, but she's got a lot more clothes on, and it's more about her struggle as opposed to her being hypersexualized.
Her struggle to keep the clothes on.
Tomb Raider is a Square. Square owns Tomb Raider, right?
Eidos.
but Square owns them.
Yeah.
Is Eidos a Western developer?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
They're the only
English,
Western
right?
developer within.
I believe they're in, was it Canada?
I don't know where they're located. They're considered
I know
like
it's
the
Eidos
Western
Well, it
side.
was
Montreal.
originally maybe like what Core or something like that. Because originally she was a British character, Lara Croft. Hence
Well,
the name
Eidos
and her
is
voice.
in Montreal, I believe.
Are they? Okay.
I think they have been. I mean, I can look it up, but I'm pretty sure it's always been Montreal.
Okay.
They might move a few
Why
times.
don't you look that up?
Okay, I'll go look it up.
That's why they make the Googles.
Google!
But were you gonna?
Well, I was gonna say, and I think part of the issue is not so much that women are sexy in games, because women can be sexy. It's a matter of how they're presented, and I think the issue is not that she is, that she's scantily clad, but that she is only being presented as sexy right now, which is the same problem people have with Dragon's Crown. And it's if you want to see a scantily clad woman that's not complained about, it's probably Jack from Mass Effect 2. She
Okay.
wears nothing for that game.
Is she the one that literally kills you by sleeping with you?
No. That's
Isn't there a character like that
Yes,
in
there is
Mass
someone-
Effect?
In Mass Effect. Mass Effect 2. There's a character that
Okay.
can do that.
So, the headquarters are in
Cambridge, right?
Is it Cambridge? Wimbledon. But the actual offices are United States, Canada, Germany, France, Australia, and Japan. I don't know if the actual headquarters does anything at this point.
Yeah.
Other than exist.
I think with this, with like the whole conversation about this, like you have to tread lightly to
Tread lightly.
to bring that back up, because there's nothing wrong with showing a female as a female, like.
No,
But
go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, but you don't want to. You got to find like a happy median, because you don't want a girl to just be a guy. You don't want Marcus Phoenix with longer hair.
Right.
You don't. That's fucking weird and creepy. But
Or
you
is
don't.
it?
But you don't want to go as far as what Dragon's Crown did, where she's
Right.
pretty much just
Like we're
A
suddenly
walking
grabbing
character
every,
asset.
everything
Yeah.
was over accentuated.
I said
Like,
assets.
Isn't like literally one boob is bigger than her head?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like 3 feet in front of her.
Like bigger
Yeah.
than like Shiva from like Mortal Kombat sound?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shiva. It's another interesting one from back in the day.
That one was just creepy.
Yeah. Well, and there's also the Amazon Dragon's Crown, who's wearing like a little metal bikini and has like thighs the size of Jesus. They're like
Wait.
people.
Wait, what?
Quote of the week: thighs the size of Jesus.
If you
So
During
an
what
average
time?
middle-aged
yeah,
man.
I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that.
What facts about Jesus' thighs
I
do we
know,
know?
I know nothing. I don't know where that came from. But if you ever played Street Fighter 3,
Jesus.
Chun-Li has really big. Like people often comment that Chun-Li has really big thighs.
Yes.
Street Fighter 3.
The size of
Nothing.
Jesus.
Nothing compared to the Amazon in Dragon's Crown. They're like tree trunks. Like they're like those redwoods in California.
I believe
That's how
they're called
big her
thunder
are.
thighs.
Thunder thighs. No,
Pull up a
this
picture.
This is not thunder thighs.
This
man.
chick's thighs look like Hulk Hogan's. Okay.
Hulk
That's how
Hogan
big
wishes he had those thighs, man.
He's like, gotta bulk up.
So is Hulk
Weight
Hogan
gain
Jesus?
4,000.
Is Hulk Hogan Jesus?
In some circles.
Some circles. He's
Yeah.
got the. Anyway.
And moving on.
How
Did Jesus
offensive
wear
can
a
we get?
toupee? Oh God.
What would we call
Okay.
a wig at that? And once it goes down to that length, it's a wig.
No.
And toupee only goes for
Yeah.
All right, so-
let's get back on track. Sorry.
So the people
sorry.
that do feel this is first of all, actually, let's do a quick round table with who feels that this is an issue. Try to keep it level-headed. We're all gonna answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think like this is an issue?
I watch professional wrestling. No.
I think you missed the point of that one.
I have bra and panty matches.
I'm of the variety that feels that as long as the game is rated properly, if it's showing, I don't know, I haven't played Metal Gear Solid 5 yet. I'm
I
only
have.
looking at, well, good for you, you bastard. But based off the very few images that are available online, I don't think it's a big deal as long as it's rated M. Grown men or people over the age of 18 can know what a woman looks like. It's not appropriate for children. But so as long as it's rated properly, I don't see a problem with it. There's plenty of 30 and 40-year-old men who play video games that know what the female body looks like.
If I can jump back
What's
with,
some
with
difference?
a serious answer for myself, the only problem I have with it is the reasoning behind it. It's not to enhance the game or to present the character in a certain light. The quote even goes any further.
Well, we're gonna get all to all that.
For the the other reasons that he's doing it. I'll leave it at that, so I don't.
How about yourself, good sir?
I personally think it's, I guess, a slight issue with the level that some people take it to with.
Come to you too. Think of something.
Okay. So I think a lot of the time it's overdone. Like I think that you can still make a character, have her look realistic, and you don't have to go all out and make her
Over.
skinny little thing, huge breasts, big assets. I really think that a lot of people overdo it as a selling point for the game, is that you get to look at pretty bodies, and I think you can make someone rather average looking, still pretty, but you don't have to overdo it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be an issue, but it is. It probably needs to be addressed a little bit. I think it's a little discriminatory. How come there's no scantily
There we go.
clothed
men.
Men.
We're just not playing the right
There
games.
are though.
Well, see, but that goes
There
into
are?
a different discussion.
Yeah, of course
where,
there
where
are.
it becomes.
There's we're coming to you last though because you're the only female perspective. There's plenty. We just don't think about it. Men are over sexualized all the time too. Look at
But they're not-
wrestling. Look at wrestling. Look at like
Oh, that's so sexy.
look at the bats. Look at the bat suit. The bat suit is nothing
Yeah.
but portraying the
Yeah.
perfect male body.
Right there behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it's even got like the
Bastard.
what's his suit made out of?
Nipple holes.
Now?
Whatever.
Kevlar.
Kevlar. Okay, it's even got Kevlar nipples implanted on the perfect area on the. It does. It does.
Only sometimes.
Or look at
the bad
look at
Batman
He-Man,
movies.
or look at
Well,
Kratos. Kratos
okay.
is wearing nothing.
Batman
Conan.
forever, right?
It's like I'm wearing nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Dare you?
Nothing at all.
Stupid, sexy
Yeah,
Flanders.
Kratos.
So here's the thing. You're right, but there's a different element that people talk about, and I'm not saying that this is always the case, but there's also
We're not on what people talk about
Okay.
yet. That's why I'm doing our roundtable.
Okay.
What do you personally feel?
What do I personally feel? I personally feel there's nothing wrong with a pretty girl. I'm all for it, but only when it's presented in.
It's a Kodak moment.
But
Nothing wrong with the pretty girl, but
but they have to be presented as characters. If they're just presented as like, there are a lot of games where the females take a role that is less than human in a way. That's when it becomes a problem. I think.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
We're gonna get some
and
some
that's why
examples
that
on both
quote is
sides.
disturbing, because he's not saying, well, this is her character. He's saying what we'll get to.
He's saying, look at that ass. That's,
Yeah.
that's what he's saying.
So that's the men's variety in the room. Sounds like it's on all sides of the fence. The lone female perspective. How do you feel about it all? Because your opinion probably matters more than all of ours combined.
Well, I do feel it can be a problem sometimes, especially when it's just for that reason.
Speak up a little.
Yeah, just lean out.
Sorry.
It's okay, don't worry.
But,
Damn it, I was not prepared for this.
well, there are times like, you know, with this where they, say that they made it just for that reason, which, sometimes, like in games like you said, that if it's for a certain age groups, yeah, go ahead. But if it's like the storyline and the character is just portrayed that way just for that, and it doesn't really add to the storyline or anything like that, and doesn't help build a really strong character, and I see that being a problem, because a female, just like a male, shouldn't be just presented out there just for that.
Yeah.
Unless that's what the game is just for.
So you sound like you're very similar to what Brian's saying. Okay, rock on.
So it seems like the only exception would be if the character in the game is supposed to be a supermodel or something. Maybe
It's supposed to be a prostitute.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well,
So-
it's
so
like,
the-
if
so
you're
the
buying porn, you want to get porn. But if you're not buying porn,
So the only exception is that terrible game with the cheerleader. Because
Yeah,
she's
Lollipop
supposed to be
Chainsaw.
a
Lollipop
dumb.
Chainsaw.
Because
Oh,
she's
Lollipop
supposed to be
Chainsaw.
a dumb, scantily dressed character.
And see,
And that is the
regard-
only
word of the day
reason
is
anybody
scantily.
bought that game.
regard-
We're gonna get to that.
Regardless
Okay.
of any gameplay elements, that's exactly it. That aside, that game was supposed to hyper realize that.
but it was supposed to be a parody, wasn't
Exactly.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing is.
But here's the thing: just because you're attempting parody, if you're failing at it, it can be a problem too. Because that's what the thing about Dragon's Crown. That's what they said. Like, no, look, these characters are exaggerated to mock the cheesecake style artwork that they often have. But if you're just presenting it there and the joke's not really followed through on,
Yeah. As to where with Lollipop Chainsaw, and again, I understand. Very low rated game.
Mhm.
A lot of people had a problem with it, and that's fine. The thing is
Could be
though
worse.
is in the story elements. Yes, she's the dumb blonde cheerleader who just so happens to be a badass and like kicks everybody's ass, which is in that
90% of
context.
horror movies.
But in that context, it
everything
works,
after
though.
Buffy the Vampire
The
Slayer.
heroine.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. It's dumb blonde Buffy.
Okay, so then one of the issues that the whole reason I
That's how she
wanted to
was in
set
the
this
original
up
movie.
is to start this debate on why outsiders seem to have a problem with this issue in the first place. Why do people feel it's an issue?
It's a sensitive topic. I think it's like almost like a civil right, really. Yeah, it's a women's issue.
Yeah,
I hate that term as well.
women's issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it sound
Like a period.
more. Yeah. I was gonna
Taking a
dance. I was gonna
strange
dance
turn.
around it a
I
little
went
bit.
right in there. I was like, no, I'm going for it.
It's gonna be like it sounds more like a monthly issue,
Yeah.
but you're just
Wham!
bam.
No subtlety.
No, you gotta be sort of like, it seems like this issue just keeps coming up once a month.
Every 28 days or so. Yeah.
Every time there's a
Then
full
Brian
moon.
right there.
Yeah.
So like a period. Thanks,
Look,
Brian.
if we're going to speak on this subject, we should speak frankly.
Look how red he's turning.
Yeah, I know he
That's
is.
being brought up.
Look
He was white before.
Oh shit.
I think it's the lighting.
I'm still pretty white on that screen. That's all I can
Oh,
tell.
it's over here.
Oh, okay.
All right. See now here's an interesting perspective that I feel doesn't justify this by any means, but I think it's why some of these companies do end up doing this stuff. If it causes controversy, it tends to
builds
build
press.
stigma around the game, and they do end up selling better.
Uh-huh.
You look at anything that's had these, anything that people had an issue with in some way or another, if it was over violent or over sexualized or anything, it tends to do a lot better. Even Dragon's Crown probably sold twice as much. It was
Lollipop
Yeah, it
Chainsaw?
was an Atlas.
Lollipop
Yeah.
Chainsaw is another fine
If I
example.
can
It's-
tag up on what you, the cover alone of Grand Theft Auto has a chick sucking on a fucking lollipop.
Lollipop,
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
kinda normal.
right there. But still, I mean,
That's not them doing something different.
Wait, what's
though.
wrong
That's
with a woman
Grand Theft
enjoying a
Auto being
tasty
Grand Theft
treat?
Auto.
the point that Tony I think is
I don't
trying to
get
make is sex kind of sells though. That,
Well,
you know,
no, I
positive
just,
or negative.
I think like some of this stuff completely goes under your radar, like with Dragon's Crown or with Lollipop Chainsaw. And if this thing wasn't made about it, the stigma surrounding the game, it wouldn't, like, we're talking about it right now. It's working. You know what I mean? People, when something was like that, Metal Gear Solid is a huge franchise, so this is a poor example. But some of the smaller games, when all this controversy is surrounding it, it'll sell better because people want to see it for themselves. They want to experience what everybody was getting so uproar about.
Oh,
I'm
they
sure
wanted
that
the
helped
pretty
Grand
girls.
Theft Auto over the years, knowing that you could go
Beat up
hire a
hookers
prostitute and go
yeah.
kill her and get your money back.
I mean, the highest selling Grand Theft Auto was San Andreas.
Probably.
That was recalled due to hot coffee.
Yeah.
Another point.
Hot
that
coffee?
you have.
You don't know what
So,
the
Hot Coffee
is?
mod was a sex minigame that was originally intended to be into the game
Alright.
that they did not implement, and people were able to hack it back out.
Ah.
So they had to recall the game, slap it with an adults only rating, and then reissue the game without that piece of coding in it.
Yep.
I heard that.
Wow.
Yeah, we
God
were
of War has
working at
a
GameStop when that
mini
happened.
game.
We were.
Isn't there
Yeah,
like
God of War
a
does.
semi like
There's
rape
a,
scene?
it's
Ah!
This episode's going to be deleted no matter what.
See, Mark knew it right away.
This
Bri-
episode
Brian-
will
Bri-
never hear.
Brian screwed
Be
up
heard by
episode
anyone.
1 too. Brian screwed up episode 1. We might get. See, the thing is, we
Wait,
didn't
you
say
did an
it.
episode 1 too?
Yes, we
Oh
went. We
my.
went through this whole thing already.
Yeah.
It's over.
I
But
apologize.
none of
This
us
has
go
been
on.
episode 83.
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even
non-existent.
matter. We can
Nobody's
just
gonna
sit
hear
here and
it.
talk. Doesn't matter.
The episode is lost.
Anyway,
Tony kisses men. You'll never hear it.
God of War, wasn't there a scene that is
There was. It was a mini game of having sex with 2 or 3 prostitutes within the game at one time. You had to hit like triangle and
yeah, it was like a quick time sequence where they pop a thing on your left press it.
you
Yeah.
would
Like
see
thrust.
a vase on
on the table,
the
bounce.
table,
Yeah.
and it would shake,
Yep.
and you'd hear the noises.
Oh my
Oh, Kratos.
See,
All right.
that's the, no.
so
Sorry, go ahead.
then there's I actually wanted to talk about some examples. If you guys have any, that's great. I'd like to go around and some women, some strong female leads that were actually not sexualized and ended up doing a really, really, really good job. Something that kind of went against the grain and ended up being successful.
I think we should jump to him first
Yeah,
because I'm
seems like
already
yes.
thinking what
Yeah.
he's thinking.
Princess Zelda from Ocarina of Time. Granted, to make her, they made her like a man, sort of, very manly attributes in Ocarina of Time when she was perceived to be as like chic. She was like a secret ninja and had all these abilities.
And it was fun to play as in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, and nobody really viewed Sheik as over sexualized, and it's not like she had.
Yeah, but she was.
Bazookas.
I would add Jade from Beyond Good and Evil, which is critically acclaimed but kind of a smaller title.
I love Beyond Good and
It's a
Evil.
great game, and she's presented as a normal person.
Normal amount
Yeah.
of clothing on.
Yeah, the whole game, not a single moment does she
No
have a
ripped
shower
clothing or-
does anybody sexually assault her. Yeah.
I mean, Heavy Rain did that too.
Yeah.
No, it didn't.
But
Yeah, but Heavy
no,
Rain
I
has
meant
some
like
really...
it showed off.
There's that shower.
stuff.
There was a whole shower
There's a-
where she's
yeah, that's
walking
what I
around
meant.
naked in her
Yeah,
in her
that's what I
kitchen.
mean. They like, why was that there?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it
the
just-
thing. Why was that there?
it
It
was
was her
very
nightmare.
Yeah, there was like part
it was
of her
completely
nightmare.
superfluous
This,
to the game.
I mean, that's also made in Europe as well, which
That's
has
what
different
Well,
values
yeah.
in that as
Yeah,
well.
I just have another one.
Yeah.
Jill Valentine, Resident Evil.
Still kind of dressed inappropriate for a post-apocalyptic setting, but they do kind of explain her attire though.
What's the reason?
She ought to look good, even if it
Well,
is the
she's
apocalypse.
wearing a halter top and a mini skirt.
Yeah, I know.
But they say that she's wearing that because she purposely wore tight-fitting clothes so that
She
zombies couldn't grab her. Which is, if you go back to the zombie survival guide, that's like rule number 4. Don't
Yeah.
wear loose-fitting clothing. Have your hair tied up, so on and so forth.
That's why Clementine's got to wear that hat and chop that shit off.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, and that brings up another good woman.
Clementine
which
from
is,
Walking
I mean,
Dead.
she's a kid, but the girl from The Last of Us, Ellie.
Ellie, but see
She's a
that
kid.
that that
She's a
borders
kid,
that
so-
borderline's on creepy because she's a youngster.
Yeah,
so.
but she's presented as a normal person who accomplishes. It would be creepy if she was.
Elaine from.
I'm gonna get some other mine.
Oh yeah, that's his. Don't take his.
Then you go. Don't.
Okay,
Do you have-
Uncharted.
Do you have something or?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Go ahead. Keep going down. We'll go down this way.
Well, there's Faith from Mirror's Edge.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
She's-
another fine example.
But she's not overly sexualized or anything like that. But in the game, there's no scene like that in there. You know, she's a runner. She takes messages, here and there to other people, and so eventually she ends up getting caught up trying to save her sister. And other than that,
Yeah, I think her ankles
That's
are
right.
showing and her arms.
And her arms.
That's
Yeah,
it.
her arms, that's about
She's
it.
fully clothed.
that's
Yeah.
about it. And say she has a normal, size body. There's nothing like that shown there. But she's a strong female character.
Yep.
pretty
It's
neat.
another good example. Yeah.
Up to you.
Huh?
Go for you.
I was gonna say Elena Fisher and Chloe Frazier.
I don't, Chloe's a little.
No.
What?
I have my reasonings.
She wears some low-cut cargo pants.
Shepherd. I mean,
Oh, like
she's-
FemShep?
FemShep.
Oh,
yeah.
FemShep. Yeah, FemShep's a good example of that. I mean, you still can
Ashley a
romance
little
stuff, but I mean, that's just the suit
Yeah.
contouring a little bit.
Yeah, but it
'Cause then, like-
doesn't contour in any way different from the male shepherd.
Well, see, that's the thing. They have that, but then they also have like Miranda.
Well, yeah.
And Miranda is like the opposite.
Yeah, that's true.
So
And
I mean, while
Jack
she's clothed,
is,
everything is
there.
jacked up.
Yeah.
Assets.
Nerdy Mass Effect.
So, anyways, Tony,
Mass
you were
Effect
saying
nerdy.
about Uncharted.
Mass Effect's
Yeah.
good. Go play it.
I feel both of the female leads in there. I know Jason disagrees on one of them with me, and that's fine. We can talk about
She
that in a
was sexy.
second. They're both. I think that's almost the perfect way to do it. They're both for video game characters very attractive women, but they're both in pants constantly, big shirts on. They're running through tombs and stuff. They have gear and
They
shit.
don't have boob physics.
There's one
it's
cutscene.
literally a thing. Yep.
There's one cutscene where Chloe is a little bit more of an aggressor, but she's very fully clothed in Uncharted 2.
In the context of the game, though, I mean that's okay because I mean I don't feel that was overly
No, it wasn't.
sexualized.
And
or
they cut right beforehand, and they're both badasses. They're both funny. They're both interesting. They're just great assets to the game without having to show any of their assets.
Nice.
I've got
Thinking
two
Man's
if I
Club.
can. The first one, visually, over the evolution of the character, she's become a little bit more sexualized in some regards. But as far as a strong female lead, it's Cortana.
She's fucking naked, dude.
She's she's digital. It's not like, it's
They're all digital. It's video
But
games.
in context of, yes,
Halo.
she's technically
I
not
think
wearing
about
any clothes, but nothing's exposed. There's no ass crack. They don't even like.
You haven't played Halo 4, have you?
Yes, I have.
She's pretty bad.
She's
in Halo
pretty-
4.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I know they kind
Yeah,
of
it's an evolution.
Yeah,
over-sexualized
they've
her a little
gotten.
bit.
Yeah, they've gotten.
But
more.
how often do you actually see Cortana, and has she ever made anything sexual other than the
I will
appearance?
destroy your mind.
How's that different from any other woman?
Good point.
So I got a follow up to this question. Are there any non-physically fit female leads?
Fat Princess.
Fat Princess.
Is she really a lead?
Yeah.
It's her game. It's
She's
called
she's
Fat
more like an
Princess.
item in the game than a character.
What-
Actually,
I've never heard
actually,
of this.
yes.
It's a PSN exclusive.
Um,
Digital game,
It's fun.
$15.
Fable 2. Hammer, is that her name? The heavy chick.
How about that?
That's a girl.
Da-da-da.
Yeah. That carries the big sledgehammer. That's a chick.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Now I know
I
what you're
didn't know it was
talking
a girl.
Yeah. She's almost like a giant. And they don't over sexualize her at all in the game. And she's actually like one of the best team members that you have. She's essentially the tank of the group. So like she's the one that pulls in the damage.
Do they have to be, what you're asking, do they have to be not the typical mold, or just any female who...
Is it
Just
fit
any
and
like
over
assist
type?
Right. Like even the ones that like I was mentioning like Jill and like
They're still
they're still
yeah.
they're still that persona the
Sheeply?
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. The
That-
geometry.
That I'm having a hard time thinking of.
Claire
any examples.
would be an example. At least in the initial Resident Evils, she wore a leather jacket. There, I mean, it wasn't anything
Yeah,
really
but-
exposed. You know, she could be your typical. She was essentially portrayed as a typical college student.
That I don't know.
Yeah, I
Hard to
can't think of
find.
anything else off the top of my
None
head.
of the leads, at least. I mean, I know some side characters and stuff. Like Borderlands 2 had the one huge trucker chick.
But
Yeah, but her
Remember
tits
that.
were half hanging out too, dude.
Yeah, like actually I was
Scooter's
thinking,
sister.
and
Yeah.
you're talking about like a
Sister, that's
serious
what it was,
character, right?
yeah.
Not
Yeah.
like a comical
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a serious, just normal woman.
like, even like in Zelda, Twilight Princess, Telma, the girl who
Mhm.
ran the bar. She had the giant jugs,
Up there.
Yeah.
the overweight, and she was
Two
like
Jason
hitting
has
out
to
lanes.
fix
Two nails.
Yeah. Yeah, no, nothing comes to mind.
The other character that I was going to bring up, even though previously they've tried to over sexualize her, they've kind of gone back on that, and that's Wonder Woman. I mean, she's appeared in plenty of video games, and yeah, back in the 70s and 80s, she wore a bikini, and but now it's more of like she wears an armor, she has pants, her attire is almost more of like
Pants.
Link, except with like a chest plate and everything. What?
Me and Mark are just having a good time over here. Keep going.
But in context of keeping with video games, Injustice, she's probably more of an aggressor than Superman is in the game as far as a villain.
Okay. I know there's an upcoming one that I haven't played yet, so I have no idea how it's gonna play out. But I know this caused a lot of stir up a couple weeks back when the new Call of Duty got announced that they're gonna finally have women running around. They're gonna be in full army gear or whatever you call it. I don't know, camoed out, but they're just gonna be women. And this caused another big thing too. And like, we actually haven't talked about it on the show yet, have we? Anybody have any feelings one way or the other about this? I mean, none of us are really big Call of Dutyers, but I play them.
I think the bigger controversy is that dog is going to die.
Do you know he's gonna die?
I know that dog's going to die.
It's like a team eco game.
Like I'm fine
Spoilers?
with
This
in
guy,
the
dude.
virtual world, equal opportunity killing, but animal cruelty, no.
No, that's another very gray area. It's like you want to have them included in games, but then how do you feel about killing them? Does it?
If they're a
Does it-
soldier on
does-
the battlefield and they're presented the same,
But does it give you that half-second hesitation when you're out there? Because that will cost you in Call of Duty. If you hesitate for
Not if it's a
like
game.
that's a girl like
in real life, I couldn't say, but in a game, it wouldn't.
Because I mean,
Yeah, it's
especially in the video game
player.
world, it could be a dude playing
Playing
as
as
a
a
chick.
woman.
It probably will be.
Yeah.
or is it going to happen so quickly that you're not even going to be able to
You may not
process
even be able
it?
to tell if they're all decked out in military
And it's just
gear.
a little bit extra hair
Yeah,
sticking out the
like,
back
you
or
can
something.
tell.
Thinner in here.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like G.I. Jane. They don't even have their ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be. That's why I don't know.
Now, if they're
'cause
running
this-
around in bikinis, yeah, it's gonna be a little weird.
I mean, they've done this with
But I don't
every
think it's gonna be the
major
case.
title already. I mean,
It'll be a
Halo
mod.
did it.
Yeah.
What? When they started
Well,
that?
there will
Was
be a
that
mod. Don't worry about that.
ODST or was that Reach where they started that?
what with women?
Yeah, with we could choose a female Spartan.
Reach.
Was it Reach?
It was Reach. Dude.
Yeah, so I mean, Reach did it, and then you also had Gears had them in as multiplayer characters. So
eventually became main characters.
Yeah. I don't know. For the most part, I think it's just kind of it was going to happen eventually. I don't really see too much of a difference. I know the reasons that some people can look like that, but it's a game, and I don't think they're going to be like over sexualized or anything like that.
Do anything to chime in with?
Oh, no.
Do what?
Try and get everybody involved. Do you have anything to chime in with?
Do what?
Not really.
Okay.
All right. Stop
What are you
yelling
saying?
at me. Do what now? Awkward.
Yeah.
You know, one game that we haven't
Pretty
mentioned,
good.
this
Yeah,
is
it
just
was.
throwing it out there. I remember you were talking about boob mechanics.
Yeah.
I think that
Boob
got
physics.
Boob
Had
physics.
to do it
Dead or
before.
Alive.
I
It's
think
awkward.
Dead or
Dead or
Alive
Alive.
Extreme Beach Volleyball.
No, even before that. The first Dead or Alive for PlayStation had bouncing breasts. There's a toggle in the options menu, bouncing breasts on or off. And they were ridiculous. They were...
That's how Brian got whiplash.
I mean, like, Extreme Beach Volleyball. I think that was the worst offender of them all. Because that game was...
Triple X, whatever it was, wrestling. Rumble Roses.
Oh, yes!
Because they had the mud matches.
Yeah,
where
like
they looked
come
naked.
on, like and again, like, all right, some of the old WWE games had a bra and panties match, okay, but that game was just wrong.
play that game?
What?
Rumble Rose?
No,
Oh, okay.
no,
Heard it was terrible.
I
Yeah,
refused.
I
I
never-
refused. It's like they would do a Hurricane Rana and they'd like pose for a second, like grab the chick's head and grind it into her crotch before she did the move. I'm like no, doesn't appeal to me at all.
That's quite over the top.
Tony's gonna go play it.
That's way over the top.
One character we haven't brought up yet, because I mean it's not out yet, but Beyond Two Souls, you have Ellen
Yeah.
Page's character, Jodie, is her name.
We'll see, because
Yeah.
that's David Cage, who did Heavy Rain, which had the gratuitous, I want to walk around naked.
That's the thing. I don't know what.
How
we're
have
gonna
we
do
brought up
yet.
Heavy Rain like 3 times now and nobody's done the typical thing that you guys always do?
Jason!
In the beginning.
Talking about old jokes. You know, like,
Well, in that game, she's also a kid for much of the game.
You play for the 15 years of her life,
Yeah.
so
8
we'll,
to 23, I believe.
Yeah, so we're gonna see. Like, so far they haven't really
That's a
shown
kid.
much. I know there's some things that like I know she's pregnant at one point, but
Really?
she had that lesbian phase in
yeah,
college.
you have to have a. Yeah, I saw that too as well. But no, they had the you have to have a kid in the game, which I'm like, I'm not looking forward to that.
That's unique.
Is it gonna be a
Yeah.
quick time event?
Probably
Push, hit
Push.
hit triangle.
I was like, triangle,
Mash
triangle,
it, mash it.
circle, circle,
Circle! Oh
circle, direction.
god, destroying all my controls.
Rotate R3.
The attractions are coming fast.
Damn it, Nintendo, learn from this. Why didn't you?
All right, we are running out of time, so I got one left, and then we'll hop into some final thoughts.
Finally, yours.
All right.
I went there.
Wait. Okay. Is there Okay. This is branched out. Is there like a specific line? Where's the line? Where's the? Because we've talked about safe and we've talked about unsafe. What is too far? What is?
What is too far is the Dead or Alive mechanic, where you have to have an
That's
option.
way too far. So is
Yeah.
that wrestling one.
Yeah.
But where's that one that's close? Like notice how we didn't say Lara Croft was on the same level as Zelda.
Right.
But I don't think she's on the same level as Dead or Alive either. So like
Well, and I think
where's the safety?
she's right on that line in the latest game, where she's very pretty, but she is never presented, I don't think, as a sex
she
object.
talks.
And she
Except
talks.
for the one where she almost gets raped.
Damn it!
See, I
Oh,
don't,
why did
I
I
don't,
say
that.
it? I wasn't supposed to
I don't
say
really
it.
remember that part.
could be
God.
on
Why?
safety. Fuck.
I don't remember that part. And I don't
That's
know why.
3 for people counting at home.
Like, I know people talk about that scene, but I don't remember that scene.
I've seen it.
She's okay. It's like in the beginning, she's coming down when she first escapes. It's literally in the beginning game.
Mm-hmm.
She's still she's still got her arms tied up behind her.
Right.
It
She's
happened to
running,
me by accident.
She's
No, it
Mark's
was.
just running out of his house with his arms tied. Mom, help me! Oh, you meant in the game. My bad.
What game?
So it's at the very beginning when she's
so
tied, when she
gets
falls
dropped
down.
in and she's hiding and they're all looking for her with the flashlights. And she gets away from a few of them, you dodge, and then the one guy finds her, picks her up by her throat and throws her into the wall and then starts kind of like slowly moving his arm down her body. And they cut a lot of it because Tomb Raider was catching a lot of flack for this too. It was supposed to go a lot deeper than that, and then it's a quick time event and you get out of it. And you turn around and shoot him. So...
Spoilers.
That's like the very beginning of the game. Yeah.
10 minutes into the game.
How many more times are you going to say this? Just. I mean, it's already deleted right now. I mean, we're not even
Yeah, this isn't even
recording.
happening.
I mean, in the context of the game and the people that are on the island, it makes some level of sense. And I don't think it wasn't presented like as being attractive or exciting. It was meant to be disturbing. So I don't think that's necessarily bad.
No,
I mean,
think
the scene, like the event, and from the eyes of the character, it is bad. But there's nothing wrong with using it in storytelling as long as you're using it, properly and not being manipulative with it.
Tomb Raider did an excellent job.
Yeah.
They weren't being malicious at all. They
Right.
they were trying to let you see the world through Laura's eyes.
And if I may jump in, maybe you should be saying this from a woman's perspective, but if you talk to a woman about like how they are treated, like how men see them, and how there are things that a guy can do that a woman
tread lightly. Tread lightly.
Like
this is dangerous
this is
territory.
dangerous territory. And if you want to jump in and
Just gonna
tell me
get
to
up
shut
and
up,
punch
feel
Ryan in
free.
the face.
But like a
Our
woman
views
can't
are
go walking
not
at night
supported by,
and feel
Rowan
safe
and
like a
Steve.
guy can. There's a good stand-up bit by John Mulaney about how he got off a train in New York and a woman was walking ahead of him very quickly, and he's trying to catch up to her to explain that he wasn't a rapist.
Yeah.
But that he didn't understand.
Damn it.
It's happened enough times. But
The video's already lost. Whatever.
it's been lost. But and that's where there's that concern about the rape joke too. That's a whole other thing.
Then he said it again. Just 5 times. The worst
Sorry,
I've ever been.
I'm sorry. I'm not meaning to go into this.
Does
But
everyone
you
know
don't
the joke
need to say
too?
I don't mean this.
Every time
Exactly.
this word gets said, the episode gets lost.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
explain
let's
it.
not be superstitious.
I
and
think
be
we might be
realistic.
losing next week's episode already.
Yeah. So
It's just not going to be able to record for the next 3 episodes.
it is more of a concern for women than it is for men, and so to present that kind of makes it realistic from a
I
woman's
don't know,
perspective.
Brian. I'm a pretty good-looking gentleman. I get worried walking
You're
in
not worried about
dangerous,
getting raped. You
dangerous
enjoy it.
neighborhoods at night. Okay, in all seriousness,
Yeah.
though, like, what do you think about what he's saying?
I do agree that there are like for women, that is like a fear for them. But also there's like other things too, like for a woman like that, like what people are like scared to let women go out and do stuff like that at night because of that one fear.
Oh yeah, there's that overprotection from fathers to their daughters that happens all across the globe for
I've
that
never
very
heard of such a
reason.
thing.
Well, if anyone knows men, it's men. And
Yeah.
then when you have a daughter, the last thing you want them doing is encountering any men because you're very familiar with them.
Yeah.
So,
No men until you're 20.
40.
Maybe next year.
All right, but back to the line. We really do have to start wrapping this episode up. So Laura Croft's an excellent example of something it's teetering.
More line.
I don't think it's teetering on the line because it's presented in a realistic and non-exciting manner. That scene is not presented as a good thing.
There's nothing sexy when that thing is happening. There's
Exactly.
nothing sexy about that.
Right.
It's a terrifying moment in the video game, which is what it's meant to showcase.
Right. So it's uncomfortable, but it's meant to be uncomfortable, and so it works.
I think if it's based in reality, it's okay for the video. Like the example I'd give is Resident Evil 0. The two main protagonists were Rebecca Chambers, who's this small, undersized woman, basically, and Billy Cohen, a
Convict.
bulky convict, and they're partners. And-
Love that tattoo that he had on there.
And like they make a joke at the very beginning of the game, like where she pulls out her gun, like, stand back, you're a prisoner, you can't do that. And then Billy just like somebody like you're gonna arrest me, like almost playing off the role of her. And I thought she was pretty for a video game character.
Yeah.
And but I don't think they went too far, and I think that was okay. And I think that if it's based in reality, it's okay.
You're still thinking? I actually wanted to tag up on what we were saying about that borderline because when we were just talking about Tomb Raider, it actually made me think about something I played a little bit more recently, where something similar happened in The Last of Us, where I'll try to keep this as spoiler free as possible.
Oh, that's right.
There's a fight scene where you take over Ellie, and there's a man who's essentially hunting you in a very confined area. And something kind of similar happens when you at one point you get pinned down, and it looks like the aggression is going to take over, and it's not your mind doesn't go where you think it would. it's similar like Tomb Raider. You're more fearful for Ellie's safety as opposed to thinking the worst is gonna happen. So I think it's another prime example that you can come really close to that line without crossing it and have it done as tastefully as possible, I suppose. So.
For me, one moment they kind of crossed the line that didn't need to, and it sounds really stupid. In Batman Arkham City, you have Catwoman, and of course Catwoman's always been very scantily clad, tight leather suits, and so on and so forth.
A lot of innuendos.
Yeah, which is
Innuendo.
fine because that's how they present the character. You know, that's how
She
she's
uses
always
it to her
been.
advantage. She
Exactly.
tricks men.
The problem I had is the game, when you're playing as her, some of the enemies that you fight would just blatantly call her a bitch for no reason.
That was it
Like,
was,
come here, bitch. And it's like, it felt like forced.
And here's the thing. It's because of that T rating. They wanted to go for the T. There's only so many words you can say with the T.
No, I get that.
And but it ruins the whole thing. And they could have gone about it differently. It ruined through the whole game. Every time you're playing as Catwoman, you hear bitch like 1,000 times.
Yeah, and it's totally not necessary
it's
at all.
Weird and uncomfortable, and it takes it too far. If they'd gone for the M, maybe they could have done it and mixed up a bit more and make it less weird. But because they do it so much, it stands out a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, every other enemy literally calls Catwoman a
Yeah,
bitch.
and says that he's gonna do bad things to her when he's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
What kind of bad things?
The kinds of things a prisoner does to a
Just
woman.
like the term,
Yeah.
I can't wait to get my hands on you.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
just the terms, and it was completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to appeal, when you're making a Batman game.
For younger, I mean, not young, because it's more mature.
Still.
But it's Batman.
It's a good segue game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that completely out of context, not necessary at all.
Rock on. All right, I suppose we could hop into... Does anybody have anything they wanted to chime in before we do final thoughts?
Sammy's staring at us.
What's up, Sammy? You got anything to add? He's been clipped. He can't eat.
Yeah, he's been castrated.
It still works.
Not
Just
not in
shoot
that
blanks.
sense.
I mean,
All right.
poor
So
guy
gonna
won't
ask.
look at him.
I think that's a no.
No? Okay, let's hop into some final thoughts.
Shoot.
You want to kick us off, Brian? The whole thing. This started as a Metal Gear Solid. I knew it's a conversational podcast. We're gonna get sidetracked, but so we kind of summed it all up. Go ahead and.
It's all about the context that the character was portrayed in. It's a very big part of it. When you present women as objects, it's going to raise a problem every single time from now on. There are more women who play games. Games are bigger and more in the mainstream. If you present women as objects, people say you are presenting women as objects. It's a problem. We should have been moving past this already. The one thing I would say is I would really like there to be more games that I can invite female friends to play. Or another way to put it, and not that's an issue for me anymore because I don't live at home, but it would be nice to have games I can play in front of my mother. Like, if a game is so embarrassing that I would not show it to someone else, that's a problem.
That's an interesting perspective. I
Yeah.
didn't even think of that.
I have a friend who only plays Soul Calibur. She likes Dragon Age and Soul Calibur. But in Soul Calibur 4, I think they added removable armor.
Yes.
And she just we were playing it, she just broke down laughing and would not play the game again. Because it was so stupid. She's like, this is ridiculous. I think we had turn the option off or whatever. She's like, this is stupid. Because at some point the women are fighting in their underwear and the guys are still wearing clothes underneath. That's silly. It's ridiculous and not realistic, really. But as long as
Not
it's
like
in the right
Ivy's
context.
armor was realistic to begin with.
Well,
so-
Ivy is a whole other thing, and her breasts just get bigger and bigger the older she gets. She's 50 in Soul Calibur 5, and they're like,
Hey, she looked damn good for 50.
well,
just
that's what I'm
Max.
saying. And there was no plastic surgery at the time, so I don't know what she's doing. But it's a lot of it's context. That's the big thing. It's all about context.
I think it's actually going to get worse before it gets better. I think there will be a game sometime in the next few years that just goes way over the top more than we already know. And, yeah, I think that'll happen still. And there'll be, these little, discussions, podcasts, and stuff that talk about it. But the problem, the number one problem is that sex sells. So,
Germany
You
took
do
it.
know that,
Took it.
and here's where everybody's going to yell at me for using that word, but you do know that there was an Atari 2600 game,
yeah.
Custer's Revenge.
Custer's Revenge, in
the
which,
angry video game nerd.
in which you
reviewed it.
rape a Native American woman tied to a pole,
No, a
cactus.
cactus. A
or
cactus.
whatever.
How did ESRB miss that? I know they
It was
probably
pre-
exist back.
Didn't exist
I
then.
I know that, but
It wasn't even sold in most stores. It was a very underground thing, but it was a big deal. There was another one too called Beat 'em and Eat 'em, but we won't go into that.
That just sounds awful.
Do you have the whole women being portrayed thing? Anything you want to chime in on?
Well,
You want to think about it for a minute? We come back to you.
I guess.
I'm going to go with I don't think it's ever going to go away for the fact that what Moss ended with, it's sex sells, and as bad as that can be sometimes, there's always going to be pretty women in games, television, movies, books. I mean, you got every kind of media who's going to be using this kind of thing, so it's not going to go away in my opinion.
Bringing it back in context of Metal Gear, like, okay, I understand that Quiet is supposed to be a sniper. We don't know her backstory. The reason that they made the character the way they did is for cosplay and to sell statues. I mean, that's a direct quote from himself.
What was that again?
Yeah, exactly. Whatever.
Cage?
That's an easy one to pronounce.
Let's call
Come
him
on.
Bob.
It is.
We'll call him
Kojima?
Bob. Okay. In the context of like the build-up, what he was talking about, and then the reveal, it's kind of underwhelming. It wasn't really that big of a deal. It's like, okay, she's got some rips in her jeans, and she's wearing
Those aren't jeans.
well,
But
whatever,
yeah.
Spandex,
Yeah.
whatever. It's not like it's not like the ass cheeks are cut out of the back of them. Okay. And she's wearing a bikini top.
Buttons,
In the
checks.
context of the setting of the game, from what I've seen so far, it could kind of make sense. It's set in like a desert-ish area. You see the sandstorm. Exactly. So I mean,
Yeah, but you would. Well, sorry.
it's not ideal. But if you go back to Metal Gear 4, all the enemies were women. The cyborg things, they were all.
And it got weird in that one too.
Yeah,
Let me tell you.
exactly. I was more disturbed by the fact that you could do cartwheels as a naked Raiden in Metal Gear 2 than I am over the appearance of a somewhat scantily clad sniper with a little bit of her thong sticking out of her pants.
Well, yeah, it's not surprising.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
Button in.
exactly. Considering what we've seen from games like Final Fantasy and so on and so forth, a lot of Eastern games are very sexual in the nature for what they design the characters to look like. This was mild at best from what I've seen.
Okay. Did you happen to think of anything?
Well, I think it's going to be something that's just going to stay. It's going to keep on.
Keep on keeping on.
Really
Yeah.
quick,
But
if
people
I
keep
can,
calling people out,
I
that's all
really,
it's
I
gonna
have to applaud Nintendo to a certain degree for having. I mean, sure, yeah, you're
Restraint.
always saving Princess Peach, and Zelda's always
That damn
in
Peach,
distress,
always getting
but
kidnapped.
still having
She's
strong,
so dumb.
powerful
So
women
dumb.
that you don't
Bowser's
have
just
to
gonna kidnap you.
don't have to sexualize. You know what I mean? Look at both of those
but
characters.
no, because is that any better to show that you're the helpless woman who's so dumb and always gets caught by Bowser, and you always need
That's one
Mario?
franchise.
That, I'm saying in general terms, when you look at the character that she developed as that, but she's expanded far beyond that to even turn around.
Well, she golfs now.
Well, she saved Mario in her own game.
Just some tennis.
She plays
too.
tennis.
I think she's been in the Olympics
She
actually.
saved Mario in his own game, or in her own game. Okay, and Princess Zelda is a badass.
By breaking down into tears, she said, "Mario."
Hey, that was cool.
It was-
that was cool. It was a lot better than fucking Yoshi story. And
Wait.
Wait. Yoshi's story or Yoshi's Islands?
Both of them. I hated those.
This
Hated
podcast
it.
is over. Final episode.
As
Well, we've already
stupid.
said it like I don't
It's
even know how many
stupid.
times. What, 7?
Yeah.
7
It-
times.
I
7
didn't
times.
say it. I said,
As for myself, I think it's gonna fork. On one side, I think video game as a whole is starting, the last like 3 or 4 years especially, are starting to tell far better stories than they ever have been able to do so beforehand. And I think you're gonna start running into a lot more.
No. All those bananas in your mouth at once. Come on.
We're
He's
not,
wrapping it up.
we're not done with the podcast.
I think you're going to start rolling a lot more toward, like the last 3-4 years, you're getting exceptionally well done women in forms like Elizabeth from Bioshock Infinite. I think Ellie's another great example. I think Lara Croft was done very well, where you're starting to get these blockbuster games that are starting to get it right. They're not completely over-sexualizing women. Unfortunately, I agree with Masas that the other side of the fork, I think, is going to get ridiculous. It's going to keep on going. I don't think we're very far away from some kind of add-on that allows you to do stuff with it with some kind of
simulating. I actually.
I don't think we're more than a decade away
Such
from
things
that.
are
Wait,
already
what
exist.
do you mean
But
like
on
an add-on?
consoles.
Oh, on consoles?
actually-
I don't think so.
What do you mean like an add-on? Like
It's already here with the Wii.
Really?
The Wii. What was that article that the Wii? It's an attachment for the Wii and a game.
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And you can
But it
with
wasn't
your
legit.
partner.
Legit.
I forgot
with,
about
yes,
this
Yes,
so
with your
long
partner,
ago.
the Wii does this.
It does.
Really?
Yeah.
It's true. It's a story I
But
ran.
of course,
like,
it probably doesn't
over a
work
year ago.
perfectly. This
It's
is
some weird Japanese thing.
this
Okay.
is not
I mean,
far
I
away.
remember the Res vibrator, but that's a whole other story.
This is going to get worse.
Oh, do you not know about that? Sorry.
So I think it's going
I'll
to
ruin your
fork.
childhood
Where,
here in a second.
where I think there are going to be those games that continue to take it further and further and further until we get to that. But I think a lot of developers are starting to get how to incorporate women. They're starting to understand that women are a bigger demographic within video games nowadays than they ever have been, and they're more important. It's more important to appeal to them. It's not just guys anymore.
Right.
So I think you're going to start getting those strong, even when they are sidekicks. Like Elizabeth was very well done. She's a very pretty girl in that game. She's got huge dresses on, where you could see like her wrist and her face. She's very
Pretty
pretty.
cleavage,
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah.
Yeah. But still.
But that's what I'm saying. And
Hey,
she's
it's Victorian era. It's acceptable.
but she's very helpful throughout the game. She's okay with a gun. She's got powers. She can open all these tears. She could do all
She's
these
an
crazy things.
individual.
Yes, and that's what I feel. And Lara Croft, I think these are all coming together really nicely. Where one side of the fork is going to do it very well, and one side of the fork is going to get way worse.
Saboteur's pre-order DLC was Topless Girls.
Yeah.
That you can still buy for like $4 or $5 probably.
To tag up really quick on what Tony said, have you gone on like the Xbox Indie Marketplace
No.
and look
not
at
in a
all
long
the
time.
massage apps
No.
for controllers? It's disgusting. I'm sure you've seen.
I have
What?
no idea what the hell you're talking about.
You for $1, you can
Oh, I know
buy,
where they're going
and it'll
with this.
make your controller into a massage tool, and you can
Well,
use the
what
other
if my
controller
back hurts,
to
all right?
stimulate it for your partner.
Yeah, look at Tony. Look how tense he is. He needs this. Like a buck or two. It's a good
This
ad.
is a true
Do
thing.
you
This
guys know about
exists.
the Res vibrator? It wasn't like a. It was a little pad about this big. And it was made to play to the beat of the music because it's a music game. But people were using it for other things.
Obviously.
What's he talking about?
People are intuitive.
massage
They will
therapy.
take stuff and use it in manners other than
They
directed
will stick
by your
anything
physician.
anywhere that they can.
All right, does anybody have anything to tack on? This has been episode 83, part 2.
So many bananas in this mouth! How many was it? Like 20?
Gmail!